Glover.
Recording in progress.
He's coming from the same community that I'm coming from, which is the Sandtown community, Sandtown Winchester community of Baltimore City, or the west side of Baltimore. This is to put some context to it. If you're familiar with The Wire, if you're familiar with Homicide, which is a motion picture about Baltimore, if you're familiar with the book Poor Black and Real Trouble, was written about the West Baltimore, or if you're familiar with the motion picture The Corner, then you're familiar with Santa. I met Doni Glover during an initiative called Community Building and Partnership. This initiative was a partnership between the public and the private sector to look at how do you comprehensively and holistically put together an initiative that transform poor communities into healthy, striving communities. Needless to say, one of the missing tools was how do you equip residents with wealth building tools to rebuild the neighborhood. Doni was the person in charge of reporting the news on a neighborhood level. Doni went from reporting the news on a neighborhood level to reporting it on a national level to creating his own news industry. My role back then was as community organizer. And then from community organizer, it went to program design and implementing some of the programs that was part of what was known then as community building and partnership, and then the empowerment zone. So let me introduce Doni, because Doni is doing some awesome things. This is a show. I look forward to it. STEM City, I can't not talk more about Doni's involvement in STEM City. STEM City is taking it to the next level when it comes to technology. When it comes to how do we take it to the next level. STEM City, I cannot say enough about that. That's the future. Again, Doni
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
And when he looks around the country,
my head up.
He's the author of 2 books.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Morris?
Oh, my heart.
Happy 20th anniversary.
My heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? John.
Again, still big in the Sandtown Winchester community, and he's still active and making changes in that community. He's well known nationally. So yeah, Doni is
the doctor lives next door to the janitor.
No matter what your level, from the person who is a junkie to the person that's running a multi-million, multi-billion-dollar corporation. Doni represents Sandtown best. talking about Sandtown, there are so many amazing people that lived in Sandtown. And a lot of those people that's coming out of Sandtown, we've actually made a national input in what we do.
To the reverend and the lawyer, we were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem.
These pictures that you're looking at are some of the movers and shakers from Baltimore and beyond.
Yourself together so I can stop being taken care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Donnie, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all.
Donnie went from reporting on news from the neighborhood to going to the White House and reporting news about the White House. When I tell you this guy is from the bottom up, like myself, and from the bottom up, we have actually begun to create a national print. Salute to Donnie Glover for what he does and what he continues to do. Y'all need to check him out. It's very important that you check him out at Black News USA. Okay, I'm starting in the middle. I normally start at the beginning. So my name is Michael Randolph, and I'm with the Center for Nonprofit and Community Development. As you know, we work with nonprofits and communities from around the country. Earlier, you heard about a friend of mine, Donnie Glover, and what he's doing in Baltimore. Across the nation, that's a crisis. When it comes to the number of black killers, it's going off the map. Not only is it going off the map, but younger and younger people are killing each other. And it's becoming normal. I say that the solution to the problem is within the problem itself. I want to introduce this guy, Kelly from Baltimore. Kelly is the type of guy that was part of the problem, and now he's part of the solution. So, Kelly, do us this favor. First, tell folks where you're from, and then tell us about your childhood, because you didn't have the best of childhood. Then talk about your young adult, and then your adult life, and then talk about what transformed you to be what you are now. So, take it on. And also, tell them what your neighborhood, your organization is and what it does. And you can do it in any order that you decide. So, nation, here's Kelly from Baltimore City.
Man, how everyone doing? Thank you for having me on. It's an honor. And especially speak about our big brother and yourself as well, and the great work that y'all have contributed, not just to Baltimore City, but throughout the United States. And you know, I done my homework and I done my research, and I'm saying y'all just modest. So my name is Kelly Sparks. I'm the founder and CEO of Sons of Phoenix, which is a 50C nonprofit, and we deal with returning citizens, young ladies and young males, and younger and adults, and that's basically what we do. Sons of Phoenix started out as a organization that geared towards young men, and then when I realized that it was I had a period in front of each letter. It was an acronym, meaning that I was just dealing with young men. Then I realized that once you put a period in front of a letter, it becomes an acronym. So it stands for Saving Others Never Stops. Not just sons, but Saving Others Never Stops. It has no gender, no race, no creed, no class, no color. So I realized that the things that I suffer from in my community, and I seen others suffer from, that by me used to being part of the problem, now I'm part of the solution. I grew up in Sandtown. I come off of Drew Hill and Pressman, Upton, Druid Heights, in that rich community, with a lot of substance abuse, mental health, and trauma. Um, Growing up in my household, I had a wonderful mother, but also I had a lot of pain and suffering in my household. When I was young, at an early age, I was molested 5 times by 5 different individuals. Well, let me say there's 3 couples and 4 individuals. Man, woman, man, woman, man, woman, man, 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 man. So I took that pain and I didn't know how to deal with it. So my mother was on. I used to go to work early in the morning. Um, I knew the trauma and the pain that was going to be. I'm saying it in my voice now, but I didn't know how to say it that way back then because I didn't know how to express myself. But I knew that when she was on her way to work, what was in store for me when she left. And I didn't tell her because I knew that she was the only one at that time taking care of the bills and everything, and I didn't want her to lose her job. And I didn't want to be caught, so I ran to the streets. And in my teenage years, I wound up selling drugs, getting caught up selling drugs, and made what they call hood rich or whatever you want to call that. That I got caught up in dealing with my conditions and my circumstances. I wound up. I'm on a wire. I ain't saying what character. We ain't gonna do that. Just I caught 50 years for killing this.
You was on the wire?
Yeah, my character's on the wire. I'm not saying it.
Okay, now that didn't know we had a superstar, right? So what am I
Yes,
saying? You can't get more real than this guy right here. That's why I want to introduce him to the world. And this is just the beginning. But my brother, I meant not to cut you off because you got a story to tell. Continue.
Oh, I didn't hear because it froze for a minute on your side.
Oh, I think you left off with
on the wire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and also I used to pay off the Baltimore Police Department. I used to pay them $10,000 every 2 weeks for hustling.
So you used to be a kingpin.
If that's what you want to call it, right?
From the bottom to the top, you can't get no better in terms of how do you change these neighborhoods.
Yes.
It's people like this that's got that history, they got the street creds, they got the compassion to come back and make a change. So I'm sorry, my brother, I keep cutting you off because your life is really like a real movie. So continue on. I think you stopped with.
All right, so
police department
and paying off the police department, greasing a couple other hands. I choose not to say, but greasing a couple other hands, and that was my life. And I made the money. The money wasn't the problem. It was just I couldn't enjoy it. And one day, my life changed. I will say, everybody say for the worse, but I say for the better. And I apologize for a life had to be taken because a sticker boy came that ran down on me and tried to stick me up. And I took his gun and I shot him. I shot him twice. And I wound up getting 50 years for second-degree murder. First, they offered me natural life with no possibility of parole. I'd never been locked up as a juvenile. I never stole a car. I was just trying to hustle. What I thought back then was to run away from pain and support my family. And they wound up putting me in 954 Fall Street, the real penitentiary, walking around with death row. I'm 5'5", so they put me in there with wolves, and I had to fend for myself. And I knew that after that first 6 months that I would never ever go back to jail. So I started to change my life, and I didn't know how to do it. I was just on the journey, and as I went on, I started 6 self-help groups, and that's so unheard of.
1 second, what was it during those first 6 months that changed you to a person that began to transform his life?
Because I don't know what happened, right? Because when I got locked up, I couldn't even spell my mother's name. They said I was hyper. I had ADHD. They said I had lab pain pause, and they said it was everything wrong with me. But when I got incarcerated, it's like a light bulb went off. And I said, "Ho, this is what happened when you go down that road." And it was many different roads that a lot of people went down, but God gave me the what I perceive as God gave me the higher power gave me that fortitude not to look down on nobody, but I wanted to help people instantly. So I joined a lot of self-help groups, but there's no such thing as rehabilitation and division of correction back then, and now on this new modern plantation. So I started my own self-help groups to start helping young men better themselves so they won't be part of that revolving door or that cycle, right? Whereas though each generation either incarcerated, strung out on drugs, or they beating their grandparents or their parents to the graveyard. So I had one group that I started with, though I knew that I was suffering from mental health and trauma, and it was something bigger than me. It was called MISS. It was called Men Incarcerated Stress Therapy, and I brought psychologists in and therapists in, to help us deal with the pain and cope with the things that the cope and the mechanisms that we was up there going through. And I started youth reaching out, and I came home. It's like the more good I done in jail, the longer they kept me. Listen what I'm saying. The more good I done in jail, the more they kept me. They kept me 31 years. Never been locked up as a juvenile.
I think anybody that's from the hood know this brother is telling the truth. In jail, you're not supposed to do good. Yeah. So the more good you do, the longer you stay. You're supposed to get in there, act a fool, come out, and come on back in again. Yeah. That's the way the system is set.
But the crazy thing is that people, that had I'm gonna say a little worse charges than me, right? And kept getting in trouble. They was getting parole like it wasn't nothing. And for years I was frustrated, right? And to the point I for a minute there, I ain't know when I was coming home. I know I was coming home, but I just gave up, and I was just like, when it happened, it happened. So after getting 31 years, and a black good brother came in on the parole team, and he said, "I apologize." He said, "I studied your case, and I can't see why you've been locked up this long." And I said, "What you mean?" He said, "I read your case. You've been locked up as a juvenile. They didn't do a good, thorough background check on you like they don't do a lot of us that come out these communities." And he apologized. He said, "Man, for what you've done since you've been in Division of Corrections. Not only that, in Division of Corrections, I was known as a peacemaker. Going around making peace. Because my thing was, I was telling brothers, the reality of a thing is that we want God to forgive us, but we can't forgive nobody else. And that was the premise, and that's one of the principles that I stood on. So
now tell us how you transformed that into an organization, and tell us about your organization.
All right. So I come out. I'm on fire. Listen, first of all, I'm a little paranoid because I'm thinking they're gonna come back and get me, when they release me on home monitor. So when I come out, the first thing I do is I hop in Cotton State. I come straight out of prison on home monitor, hop in Cotton State. They told me I couldn't go to Cotton State because I was on home monitor. I got that changed. I changed that law. Also now everybody.
Just 1 second. For those of you who are not from Baltimore, Cotton State or Cotton University is an institution of higher learning in Baltimore City. It's a Black institution of higher learning up there on North Avenue.
Yes, and Cotton's known throughout the United States. They got them in Hopkins and University. They're pretty known. They well known. And I hopped in college. I took up business management. I started the process of me opening up my nonprofit, because when I came home, I couldn't believe that what I was seeing. I've been locked up so long that technology was moving fast. Everybody was moving fast, and I was trying to catch up. But I also, in that, I seen a lot of us suffering from substance abuse. I seen a lot of young men and men dealing with emotional. They was more emotional than 13-year-olds. And I wanted to do something about it. And when before I got locked up, I seen men gnawing, but when I come home, the women was gnawing, they had children. That was a problem to me. I wanted to know, how can I help? and also help the little young brothers and the little young sisters, because they was locking the little young sisters up just as fast as they was locking the little young brothers up. How can I aid and assist them in their endeavors and in their space, where as though they don't make the same mistakes, right? And give them a better chance at life, not just for them and their children, but their community and the city as a whole. And I started Sons of Phoenix. It was just crazy. While I started my organization, I wound up working for the mayor's office, coming home. I'm in charge of the I'm one of the credible mentors that's in charge of the Squeeze Initiative. And I just started going around knocking on every door, asking them, can I speak to their youth? And one thing I learned is that a lot of the little young men that I was up there encountering and mentoring is that they were suffering from a lot of mental health and trauma. And this is what I mean by that. When we was young and we was coming up, and I know this for a fact because I suffered from it also, not counting the molestation and all that, but we was taught as young Black men, right, that we're not supposed to cry.
Yep.
We was taught that shut up, chump, shut up, faggy, and all these what you call words, right? Yep. And the thing about it is that it sounded slick back then, but then you got these little young brothers that they not supposed to cry, so they got all this anger.
Yeah.
And misaggression that they can't get out. They can't express themselves.
Just want to jump in 1 second, especially for those folks who not understand the inner city. The so-called ghettos, the so-called streets, was created by the government as a result of Reimage. What they did was, when Black community was thriving and they was really doing good, they came in and built an invisible circle. And in that invisible circle, they made sure that they would devalue the property, create a situation where Blacks couldn't move out, increase credit in the community by paying outrageous types of monies. They actually was able to create a situation where they created the ghettos, because all of the energy that was there, the people that had business and everything came out. That's how the ghettos was created. Contrary to popular belief, it was not created by Black communities. Black communities were striving back there. But when the government came in 1930, they created what we see now. They brought in the guns, the drugs, and more importantly, they control the culture. Go ahead, my brother.
So it was a problem. So I'm talking and I'm listening. Because the thing was, everybody was talking at them, but wasn't really listening. And they wanted them to do what they wanted them to do, instead of being helping them in their space, being patient with them with decency and respect, and help them on their journey, not our journey. So I understood that early on when I came home. So I went out there to start assisting them. I go up on the corners. I offer them jobs. Everybody don't want a job. You got a lot of them that want vocational training, job readiness, drug treatment, whether inpatient, outpatient, education. Also, you'd be amazed how many people, not just in Baltimore City, but throughout the United States, is not walking around with a ID. And in Baltimore, we say a Maryland ID, Social Security card, and birth certificate. So I assisted them in getting that, right? And helping them in their endeavors.
Can I just cut you off for 1 second? What that brother is saying is it is consistent in poor communities throughout the United States. It is the norm that brothers don't carry ID.
Yes, and nor do they really see any value into it until they run across a situation, right? Or they getting themselves together, or they need to do something with government that they need their ID and their social and their birth certificate. So we helped them with that, and well, I helped them with that at that time, and I wound up getting people that assist me to help them also, and we just started doing that consistently. I'm talking about, when I say consistently, I was doing that 6 days a week, not 5 days a week. Because Sunday I was going to service.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
What does your organization need? But before you answer that question, let me share with folks around the country. If we're talking about making an impact, and the changes that we want to bring to get to the desired results of reducing violence, but at the same time saving our young people, then we have to invest in evidence-based, data-driven programs that works. This brother is an example, and I only bring you folks from around the country that I see as having the ability to have a national impact. This brother is one of those brothers. When you think about it, this brother is both a critical and a creative thinker combined together, and living the life has presented him with the situation to make a real change in this community. So I'm saying, my brother, what do you need and how can people get to you? Do you have an email or anything of that nature, how people can touch base with you? Because I think what we have here is the beginning of a national model.
All right, they can reach me at kellysparks45@gmail.com. Let me repeat that again. It's KELLYSPARKS45@gmail.com. Or they can just call me. Everybody say I'm crazy because I pick up my phone all the time, but I'm a businessman. And I'm in the business. I'm a businessman, but first and foremost, I'm in the business of my people. You can call me at 443-943-4467. That's how they go get in contact with me and communicate with me. And also, if you want to know anything about my organization, the Sons of Phoenix, you can look it up at sonsoffphoenix.org. And you'd be amazed the wonderful things that we do. We're not an ad-based organization. We think for the future. We think present. And in the future, we make leaders. Right now, and I have a nonprofit. Huh?
You sold us. Now tell us where we can send some money. Let us know what you need. Money, a building, whatever. So you're so passionate what you do. You just do what you do. But now I want to turn you on that fundraiser side because you're the CEO. So in addition to running the program, you're the face to bring in the money. Go ahead, my brother. Get it.
All right. So you go on the website and donate money. We need space, and we need space. We need a building. That's first and foremost. We need a printer. We don't need a office printer. We need one of them commercial printers because we print out so many copies and do so many things for the whole community. And if you want to send money, you can just call me or email me, or you can go on the website.
So do you have PayPal?
Do I have PayPal? Yes, on the website.
Yeah, good. So folks, listen to what he's saying. He already set up already. So if you go to his website, you can fund in a number of different ways. I'm suggesting that, and listen up, I'm suggesting that be the type of person. You from the streets. You're about it. You know how it is, and you made it out. You're good to go. But so many others have been left behind. And we all we got. That means we all we got. We got to pay for it. So here's an opportunity to put money in this brother's hand to change the narrative. Because African American brothers and sisters are dying at a rate that's ridiculous. Let me give you some game on that. African American communities, in terms of death, are 30 times the world population. You can go to any location in the world, Africa itself, and the rate of murder is not as high. We all know it's because of generational trauma. That's why we are the most violent, according to them, in the nation. But they don't talk about how we got here. How we were forced into slavery and led to this trauma that we see today. So we got a lot that we need to do in order to save our communities. And what we're not going to do to save the community, as much as I love them, is march all the time and say we should overcome. We can't. We have to start talking about what are strategies and approaches that we can put in right down in the heart. Now, my commitment to this brother is to work with him to compete to increase the capacity of this organization. You know, African American organizations are by far the least funded. And they're the least funded because they don't have the skill sets necessary to take them to that level where they can compete against all these organizations that's been around forever. But at the end of the day, when you look at outcome, it's the same way. So what we do is to build those skill sets in terms of theory of change, logic, model, business plan, everything they need to compete and make a real difference. So I'm telling y'all tonight, and I'm predicting, y'all looking at a superstar right here. But here's what's important. I want you to meet him tonight, and then after he finishes the training, see how he comes back with a different perspective. And that different perspective is that he's going to be looking at things a little bit different. He's going to understand, okay, this is how the moving and shaking roll. I need this, I need that, and now I got all that capacity. So no matter who I go in front of, a lender, who a bank, an investor, or anybody that got money, he can convince them that I'm very competitive, very structured, and I understand how to get things done. Anything else, my brother, you want to say before we get out of here tonight? You inspired the first time I saw you on Doni's show. I always peeping in Doni's show. Most of the time, because I'm moving and shaking just like Doni, right? Most of the time I'm in a meeting. But with technology, I still can be in a meeting to pop in and say hello and to give a little comments like that, right? So Doni always brings to the table some really impactful folks. I think Doni is a giant among giants, and that he don't discriminate from where you come from, but he tries to empower you. And Doni, like I said, he's still back in the hood, still back in Sandtown. Even though I left Sandtown, I'm still in the hood. Same hood, just a different name. And you know that no matter where you live at in the United States, right? You know, what they got for us is the hood, man, right? The projects. But from here, what I've been able to do is to say, especially the people in the project, that it's not where you are, it's where you're going at. I say it used to be a time when I was pulling those big time dollars. I was head of organizations and what have you, right? So it's not where you're at, it's where you're going at. I say sometimes God puts us in a situation because you need to share a little sunshine to move you to the next generation. And since I've been here, I've been teaching folks how to start a business. That's unheard of. You're not supposed to teach young people how to start a business. Well, you saying something? I can't hear you.
No, what I was up there saying is that you're most definitely right, and on how you perceive things, and especially about what you say about yourself and Doni, right? Just very impactful, right? And anything I can say that in my closing, right, will be that failure is not an option.
Okay.
Failure is not an option. No, because they teach us about the first law of the universe, which is motion. The second law of the universe, right, is order. But they never teach us the third law of the universe, right? And this is one of the principles that I operate on, is discipline. What good is motion when you're out there moving without no order? And what good is order without no discipline? That means structure. And that's what you usually talk about, capacity building in organizations. And I understand that. And a lot of us, I got all the paperwork, but we need to fill in them potholes so we can compete. Because we're actually doing the work. And you got a lot of people that ain't doing the work, that's getting all the big money.
Definitely. That's what I'm saying. And people like you that's at the ground level don't get that respect or structure to get there. What we is offering an opportunity to get all the way to the top, man, because this has to be a national approach to how we deal with what's going on in our neighborhood. I just commend you, man. I'm really touched by what you did, because I'm coming out of the neighborhood of Sandtown. My brother was killed.
I still live in Sandtown.
Huh?
I'm still in Sandtown. I'm not that far from. I'm about 5 blocks from Danny Glover. Man,
Okay.
we still in the neighborhood because I realized that I owed a debt to society in order to understand and be able to relate and get the biggest impact. Right, I had to be right there.
Awesome.
Organic, boots on the ground, grassroots organization that's actually putting in the work. Without the talk, anybody can talk, but you could judge us by our work.
So let me end it with this. Malcolm X said that we have to be intellectually independent. You represent what Malcolm X is talking about. We have to be intellectually independent, meaning we need to be able to do it for ourselves. So that being said, anything before we cut out, I'm gonna get up an email to you with some questions about the organizations. I can get more information to begin working with you on the different things we want to bring to the table. And then I'll give a step-by-step what we're going to do and how you benefit from it. And the beauty of it is, it's free of charge. And the only reason why it's free of charge, man, because sometimes we got to give back. Now, I think that me coming up from the streets taught me how to be a hustler. But it taught me how to be a hustler to make money, but to be legit about it.
Okay.
That at the same time to be legit about it. But sometimes you got to get back for free when you see something that's greater than you. And what you do, my brother, and the impact that you have is greater than that. So if I can facilitate anything towards making you the organization that you're destined to be, I'm here.
And I appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it, right? You only get everything what you put into it. And I just love the work that I do. I can't help myself. I'm not trying to find my purpose. I'm not walking in my purpose. I'm wrapped up in my purpose.
Okay.
And that's all I gotta say is that you can look me up. You got my email, sonsoftphoenix.org. You can reach me at 439-434-4467 or kellysparks45@gmail.com. And
my brother, I write something to do this to Black people. I salute you in what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to working with you. I got to get out of here, man. Keep doing what you're doing. From the night on, we changed the narrative. Thanks again, man. Appreciate you.
So thank you. And everybody.